Welcome to Rise and Shine Yoga. I'm Jody Decker, and I'm creating this morning practice for the York County Library in South Carolina. Today's optional props are a block, or if you have a firm pillow, that'll work as well, a strap or maybe a belt or a tie, coffee or tea nearby if you'd like. This will be an energizing practice this morning. It's going to be an energizing sequence to help start our days, and it's going to be an emphasis on spinal extension and heart opening for our posture. So to begin, let's start with pranayama, which is in yoga a breath practice, and today's practice will be breath of joy. So to break down this breath, we are going to take basically 3 inhales, like 3 small sips of air. So we're breaking up our inhale into 3 parts. Just watch me first. It looks like this. It's inhale, 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 and big exhale, audible exhale through the mouth, where we actually bend our knees and allow ourselves to fold forward. So allowing the chest to drop to the thighs, head becomes heavy, hanging from the very end of the spine. So again, 3 sips of air. Inhale, 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 and big audible exhale. Palms come down. Let's try it together. Inhale, inhale, and big exhale. Again. Three more. One more time. This time, inhaling, arms all the way up overhead, stretching as tall as you can into a little baby back bend. And exhale, slowly releasing our hands to heart center. Finding a firm base, beginning in our mountain pose. So we're gonna lift the toes up, and as we go to set them down, we're gonna spread them as wide as possible, creating a firm base with all 4 corners of each foot actively resting into the mat. Our fingertips are reaching down towards the mat. Shoulder blades inching their way into our back pockets. We're going to inhale a little more length into the spine. Exhale, releasing our left ear over towards the shoulder. Inhale back to center. Exhale, other side. Inhale, center. Exhale, turn the nose. Let's look over the left shoulder. Inhale back to center, and exhale, other side. Inhaling center, exhaling chin to the chest. And this time we inhale, arms reach all the way up overhead towards the sky, stretching as tall as you can. Exhaling through the nose. Let's do that a few more times. Big inhales through the nose. Big exhales through the nose, cleansing breaths. On this last breath, let's take the hands together, interlacing fingertips at the top, palms pressing up, stretching tall, then reaching over to our left as we press weight to the outer edge of our right foot. Inhaling back to center, exhaling other side. Inhale back to center. Exhale, press the palms out in front. Let's try to round through the upper back. Drop the chin to the chest and push the shoulder blades apart. Inhale your way back upright. Exhaling into a small baby back bend. Gaze comes up, chin lifts. Inhale back to center. Exhale, release the left arm down. Let's begin our side lateral flow. So each inhale takes us tall to the center. Our exhale moves us into the other side. Really taking our time this morning, allowing our breath to guide our pace. There's no hurry to get anywhere. Maybe each side bend, you find yourself moving a little deeper into the stretch. Let's finish one more on each side so that we're ending on the opposite side that we started on. And with our next inhale, reach tall. Exhale, release hands to heart center. Moving into a short flow to create a little bit of heat, prep our body for some deeper spinal extensions. Let's inhale our arms up overhead, reaching tall. Hinge from the hips, swan dive forward. Moving into your forward fold. This is a good place to use your block. So if your mat feels a little far away this morning, close the distance with your block or your small pillow. Let the head hang. Hands come to the shins, inhaling, looking up into monkey where we create a long spine and a flat back. Exhale, back, forward fold. And inhale, reverse swan dive, reaching all the way up into a slight back bend. And then releasing into chair pose, Utkatasana. So very important in chair pose that we keep the knees behind our toes. That's going to keep our knees safe. So sitting back like we're going to sit in a chair, that's not really there. And let's flow through that a few more times. Inhaling, arms tall. Exhale, hinge from your hips, forward fold. Inhale, look up into monkey. Long spine, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive, reaching up into our slight back bend. Releasing chair pose, Utkatasana. And again, inhaling, arms up. Exhaling, swan dive forward. Inhale, look up into monkey. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive, reaching up, slight back bend. Have a seat, chair pose. Maybe dropping our hips a little bit lower as we find that we're warming up the last time through. Inhaling tall. Exhale, swan dive forward. Inhale, look up into monkey. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, reverse swan dive, reaching up, slight back bend. And releasing our hands to heart center. We've created a little heat now. Hopefully you're warm and ready to work. Let's inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive forward. This time, step or jump back into our downward facing dog. Side view here, we're gonna walk our dog and we're just gonna bend one knee at a time. Bicycling out the heels. Stretching a little deeper into the calf. Looking for that point where you feel a mild tension, so we never feel pain or discomfort in any pose or posture. Inhale, drawing into plank pose, lining your shoulders up directly on top of the wrist. If this is too much, you can always drop to your knees and come into a supported plank. We're going to do 3 yoga push-ups. And in yoga, what we try to do is hug the elbows into our sides. Inhale down, exhale up. So you can do this from your full plank or from your supported plank, whatever feels best to your body today. After 3, pause in your plank and then begin to lower yourself all the way down into your mat. We're going to move into Locust Pose. So in Locust Pose, we have 2 choices. We can inhale just the upper body up, exhale, lower down. Or we can try inhaling upper and lower. So half locust or full locust is fine. Whichever one you choose, let's all keep the gaze down to the top of the mat. That will protect our neck, keeping us in neutral with the rest of the body. Exhale, resting for a brief moment before inhaling back up. So we're going to flow with our breath. Each inhale lifting us up. Exhale, lowering us down. With each inhale, let's actively reach the fingertips towards the heels. So what we're trying to do is create as much space as possible between the ears and the shoulders. Continue for 4 more, please. Each repetition taking us just a hair higher. Last two. And on our last one, we'll go ahead and stay up. If you can, interlace fingertips together, opening up through heart center, expanding the chest a little bit more. Inhale, lifting a little bit higher yet. Holding for 2 more full cycles of breath. On your second exhale, hands come to the top of the mat, rest the forehead here. And pausing to take a few breaths in neutral. Moving into a little deeper extension, keeping the forearms at the top of the mat, we're going to move into bow pose. So if you have full bow in your practice, please feel free to go right into full bow. If this is a new one, practice half bow today with me. So reaching for the left foot, we're going to inhale, lift the thigh an inch or 2 off the mat as you extend up. So again, we're focusing on spinal extension and heart opening here. For those of us that are tight in the chest and the front of our shoulders, you'll really notice a deep stretch there. On your exhale, begin to slowly lower down, again taking a couple of breaths in neutral spine. For those of you that had full bow in your practice, you'll do that one more time. If you practiced half bow with me, reaching for the opposite foot now, inhale, pulling slightly away from the mat, lifting and extending. One more deep breath in. Exhaling, slowly release, again, resting in neutral spine. It's always important when we put our spine in an extended position that you come into neutral for a breath or 2 before pushing back into flexion, which would be child's pose. When you're ready, hips to your heels, child's pose. Let's begin to walk our hands over to the right side and press our hip over to the left edge of the mat. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, other side, pressing the hip to the outer edge of the mat. Inhale our way up onto tabletop or all fours. So side view, we want to stack our hips directly on top of our knees, and then our shoulders will stack on top of our wrist. And you always have the option to make a fist for a wrist. Sometimes that feels a little better on the wrist. We're going to inhale, drop the belly down, bring the gaze up, and then exhale, tuck and round. If you have a really thin mat, sometimes it feels better to double up the mat or find a little bit of padding you can stick underneath. Continuing on with cat-cow, inhale, lifting. Exhale, tuck and round. One more in each direction, please. Making our way back into neutral spine where we'll re-engage the core. We're going to move into spinal balance. So you're welcome to start with just a leg. We're going to try to lift our heels so it's hip height, neutral with the rest of our body, and then slowly lower down. So you inhale as you lift, and then you exhale as you lower. So feel free to stay with just the legs or add an opposite arm lift. Inhaling, arm and leg out long. Exhale, lowering. So taking your time, moving with control, and making sure that the entire range of motion, our gaze stays to the top of the mat, protecting our neck, and that we engage the core, keeping everything tight. The next time our right arm and our left leg are long, pause here for our breath. Inhale, open out to a 45-degree angle. And let's inhale back to center. Exhale, bend the knee, and then reach for the foot. If you can reach the foot on this side, push the foot into the hand. The strap or your belt helps with this. So our side view is here. And then press into it, creating a little bit more spinal extension. Exhale, slowly release down. And then inhale, extend opposite arm and leg long. Open out to a 45-degree angle. Coming back and bending the knee and trying to reach for the foot on the opposite side. So once again, if we can reach here, pressing the foot into the palm, really feeling the stretch across the front of the chest and through the shoulder. Exhale, begin to release. Open the knees a little bit wider, sinking our hips to our heels, relaxing into child's pose. Inhale your way upright, just coming into a seated position on your heels. Big shoulder rolls to the back of the mat. Pulling the shoulders up, down, and back. For those of us that are really tight, you might even feel a little bit of popping or crunching, which is okay as long as it's pain-free. On your next roll, leave the shoulder blades down and back. And let's find starfish hands, spread the fingers wide. Thumbs are going to be 4 to 6 inches apart. We're turning our toes under, lifting up into our downward facing dog. And let's move into a 4-part flow. So we're going to inhale, lift the heels as high as you can. Exhale, knees come 2 inches above your mat, holding and hovering. Inhale, hips high. Exhale, our heels back down. So again, inhaling, heels high. Exhale, bend the knees so you're holding and hovering. Inhale, hips high. Exhale, sending the heels down. Let's flow through that 4 more times at your own pace. Taking your time. Remember, there's no hurry to get anywhere this morning. Pausing for a sip of your coffee or your tea whenever you need to. After we've done 4 flows, let's inhale our way back into plank or our supported plank. 3 yoga push-ups we learned in the very beginning of our practice, hugging our elbows into our side ribs. And then release the left knee to the mat and take the left palm directly under the shoulder, opening up into our supported side plank. So supported side plank looks like this. And notice I have 3 points connected to the floor. If you want to take it up into 2 points, making it a little more challenging, go ahead and lift the leg. And if you want to take it 1 step farther, bend the knee, reach for the foot, creating a bind. So again, working a little deeper into that spinal extension and heart opener. Push the foot into the palm. Exhale, release. Gently push away from your mat. We're going to lift up and over gate pose. So in gate pose, fingertips slide down to the ankle. We're going to begin a flow back and forth. I like to have the block at the top of my mat to kind of close off the difference. So with your inhale, reach into gate pose, reaching to the back of the mat. Exhaling our way to the front of the mat. Flowing back and forth. Last time in each direction. The next next time we come to the top of the mat, we pinwheel the arms back down and around, turning your toes under, finding your way back into downward facing dog, and moving into our 4-part flow once again. So inhaling our heels tall, exhale, bend the knees 2 inches above the mat, holding and hovering. Inhaling, hips high, exhaling, heels to the mat. 3 more times. Moving at your own pace. Once you've completed, moving your way back into your version of plank, whether that's on your knees or fully extended, our last 3 yoga push-ups of the practice. Let's make them count. Do your best to really hug the elbows into your side ribs. And when you're ready, slowly lower the right knee to the mat, taking the right palm directly under the shoulder and finding our way into supported side plank. If you decided to take your leg up, we can do that again here. Moving into a 2-point balance. 1 step farther up, bending the knee, reaching for the foot, finding that extension. Slowly release foot back down, gently pushing away from your mat, coming up and over into gate pose. Reaching out towards the back of your mat. And let's flow. Inhale, with or without your block, to close the distance at the top. Reach to the top, exhale, reach to the back. Inhaling to the top of the mat, exhaling to the back of the mat. One more time in each direction. This time we'll pinwheel the arms down and around to the mat, making your way back into tabletop, then turning the toes under, lifting the hips high, downward facing dog. Pausing here to bicycle out the heels, just bending 1 knee at a time. Inhaling our left heel high, 3-legged dog, bend the knee. Open the hips, turn to gaze under your arm, continuing our twist. Really activating and pulling the core in tight. Let's inhale the knee to the outside of the left elbow, squeezing our side obliques. Inhale back up, 3-legged dog. Exhale, bring the knee all the way across the body, squeezing the core. Inhale back up 1 more time. This time, exhale, squeeze the knee into the chin, and then slowly lower the shin to the mat. Pigeon pose. We need a reward after all that. So settling in, finding the point where your weight's equally distributed. So for some of us, we'll benefit from taking our small pillow or the block and putting it underneath the hips to help bring us even. You can also take your prop and rest the forearms there. Or maybe some of you can come a little bit deeper, stacking the fist and resting the forehead. So finding what your endpoint is. Taking several deep breaths here, relaxing the body, and just trying to enjoy the progressive opening of our hip joint. Using our next inhale, start to draw the chest back upright. Turn the toes under. Place the thumbs 4 to 6 inches apart for our last downward facing dog of the day. So once more, walking it out, maybe shifting the hips from side to side And really just moving the body in any way that feels good. Nodding the head yes. Shaking our head no. And inhaling our right heel high, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, drop the heel behind us, opening up through the hips. And then really pulling your core in tight as we inhale, knee to the outside of the elbow. Back up, three-legged dog. Inhale the knee diagonally across to the opposite elbow. Three-legged dog. And last time, inhale, bring the knee all the way into the chin. And then exhale, set the shin down. And work your way into pigeon on this side. Sometimes it helps to turn the toes under and draw the pelvis back an inch or two. So if you didn't need a prop on the first side, you still want to check and see if it benefits you here. Sometimes we have a side that's a little tighter, and that's not unusual. So pick your endpoint, whether that's resting forearms on a prop or stacking the fist and coming a little bit lower. Bringing your attention back to your breath. Each inhaling, allowing your body to feel a little more relaxed. Each exhale, sinking or melting a little deeper into our mat. Inhaling your way back upright. And exhale, sweep the back leg together. Coming into Navasana, boat pose, last pose of work, really engaging the core, perhaps leaving the hands by the hips as we lift our legs. We're focusing here on an open chest and a long spine, really engaged core. If you can extend the arms, and you can do this with good posture without rounding into it, let's try it for 3 deep breaths. After our third exhale, we'll meet in reverse tabletop or incline plank. Whichever one you choose, your fingertips will be pointing towards your heels. Lift the hips high and then exhale your way up an inch or two higher, really stretching through the front side of the body. And then exhale as we slowly make our way down to the mat. So you want to tuck the tailbone under and then slowly come all the way down onto your back. Let's finish with a spinal twist. Extending the arms to the sides, shifting the hips to the right, an inch or two, drop the knees to the left. Shoulders stay connected to the mat. And if you feel like you need a bigger twist, turn the gaze away from the knees. Inhaling our knees back to center. This time we exhale, shift the hips to the left 2 inches, dropping our knees to the right. And maybe this feels good, keeping the gaze in neutral. But if you want to counter, go ahead and turn your gaze, look away from the knees. With our next inhale, come back to center, hugging our knees into the chest. And then reaching for our feet. If you can't reach your feet, your belt or your strap is helpful here. Heels stacked above the knees, pulling the knees down towards our mat. Happy baby. If it feels good, you can begin to gently rock from side to side, massaging the spine. Coming back to center, finding some stillness, extending one leg out and then the other. Inhaling both arms all the way up overhead into one last full body stretch. And exhaling our arms to our sides, pulling the shoulder blades down and in, making our way into final relaxation or Shavasana. Closing your eyes, clearing our minds, giving ourselves some time to let the minds
and the body simply be. Keeping our eyes closed, begin to bring your awareness back, beginning to gently wiggle the fingers and the toes. Bend the knees, let them gently rock from side to side. Inviting a little bit of motion back into the spine. The next time the knees move to the right side, we'll just roll completely over onto the right side. And then pressing the left palm into the mat as you work your way back up into a seated position. Eyes can be open or closed. 3 big shoulder rolls to the back of the mat. On our last roll, we're going to leave the shoulder blades down and back, resting the backs of the shoulder blades all the way down towards your back pockets, opening the chest, maintaining this good posture for the rest of the day. And let's finish with a cleansing breath. Big inhale, reaching tall, audible exhale through the mouth. And one more deep breath in. This time, exhaling our hands to heart center. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful day.